Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another crazy with the world renowned. Listen, I don't think a lot of you guys even understand who's with us tonight. Super excited to have him. Mr. Vicent Genna is in the building with us. Come on, Vicent. Say what's up, brother. Say something, man.
Well, let me tell you something. You just put enough energy in my car to run it to California from North Carolina here. Good Lord, Griff. Holy cow. I got to get my butt back into the chair again.
Listen, see what I'm saying? Do you guys get in? This is what I'm talking about. Listen, if you've never seen Vincent, we don't know what planet you're on. We have no idea what planet you're on. But for those of you who haven't, check this out.
All right, the three of you together were three bitches in another life of friends. You were girls.
Sorry, I just got to stop you right there.
Right, okay.
What the fuck did you just say to me, Vincent? You come into our fucking domain and you call us bitches in the first 10 minutes?
A psychic is able to tell the past, present, and the future. So it's a linear type of understanding. Mm-hmm. Whereas a medium now makes a connection with the other realm, the spiritual realm, where we cross over the other dimensions and wherever that is, right?
Well, I'm going to need your help in order to let them get through that vortex, because you're that powerful. You willing to do that and get rid of the ghosts and the hauntedness of here and turn it into a place of good fortune and joy and love?
Let's let the healing begin.
All right. There is definitely a frustration and anger, and even though we did this to honor them, how do you honor a lost soul? How do you make them feel better about being stuck here, for 100 some odd years, right?
Right.
You can't.
Okay, guys, I think his body of work speaks volumes. I don't think we got to say anything. I don't think we got to say anything more other than what Wendy is getting ready to tell you about Vincent right now. Talk to him, Wendy.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us tonight, Vincent. So Vicent Genna. Vincent is a world-renowned spiritual teacher and psychic therapist, a dynamic, animated speaker who receives and deciphers messages from the other side. Vincent uses his uncanny skills to help improve our present lives. Good stuff.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, y'all. Unbelievable.
The reason why I do these shows is because I like hearing my intro. You understand that, don't you?
I was going to say, that's how Griff rolls. Okay. You better know it.
No, Vincent, listen, man, we're just super excited to have you here, and you deserve the intro that you just got for sure. And so let's get to asking this man some questions. Also, by the way, before we started the interview, Vincent and I were kind of chopping it up a bit, and I told Vincent, I said, "Hey, Vincent, listen, man, do not be afraid to give us a reading." Vincent said, "Are you sure you want to open yourself up to that?" I'm like, "Hey, man, it's the weekly call."
Danger with a capital D. Are you kidding me? Do you want the millions of people who are listening to this and watching this to know those intimate details? Griff, those deep down things that you have spent your entire life hiding, is that what you want to show everybody?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Griff is so great.
Let's do it, baby boy. I ain't tripping.
But you know what?
I have no idea what they are. I am. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, actually, I can say some really, really nice things about Wendy, and we'll get into that. That is great. Wendy has got some in front of camera things coming up in her future in 2021, which is going to be really good for her. I like that. And Griff, there has got to be more words coming from you talking. Besides, I know you're a musician. I heard that before. That's not psychic, okay? You already said that. Right. But I do see that you need to be out in the world rather than just behind the camera and just behind on the radio and the microphone. You're going to be out in the world doing more lectures. It's lecture talk, man, because you've got a lot
to say.
Are you planning that, by the way?
Are you kidding me? Yes.
Dang.
Now, how would I know that? And just so that everybody knows, this is the first time I am meeting both Griff and Wendy. I do hundreds of these interviews, and a lot of times people think, oh, he's done all research on him, that's why he knows this stuff. Are you kidding me? I can't do enough research. I am 65 years old. If I put any more information in this brain, it's all going to fall out like stuff. I definitely got the body that's filling out like one now.
Hey, I think that's all we all been doing is eating.
I told Vincent, that's amazing that you just said that, and that's why
that's awesome. Thank you.
That's why I said to you, I was like, dude, you got to give us a little bit of that, because totally 100% all about lecturing. I have lectured entrepreneurs, and that's my whole entire. That's all I want to do. So it's funny that you say that those are my plans.
Think of expanding. They need you out in the world. It's going to expand. And the other thing that you do have to do is you got to get the book done. Okay, so there is a book in you. You got to get a book done. It's important to get that word out there in all different ways. So like you're on the radio and you're entertaining, and the same goes for you, Wendy, it's like you are people that need to be out into the world. And as great as you are at doing this, the public needs to see you too, and read about you and hear you, because that's where your greatest influence is. Plus, one of your grandmothers is here. I think, Wendy, it's yours. Is your mother's mother deceased?
Yeah, she is, actually.
Okay, well, she just stepped into the picture with a big, giant smile on her face. We'll talk more about it, but you go ahead. I don't want to occupy this whole interview.
Oh, my goodness. How'd you know that's my mom's mom?
Because she told me.
Oh, that gives me all kind of... I got all the feels right now.
Okay, she wants you to know that there is, in your heritage, your ancestry, there are many females that were extremely colorful. They even wore the traditional color garb and stuff, and that has been passed down to you as far as the colors within you. So Grandma wants you to know that you are the generation to bring all the multicolors of your ancestry out into the world by the personalities and the style that you have. You're very multicolored. And she said, let that show up in your wardrobe a little bit more. She says you tend to get one-sided with your colors. She wants you to do even more colors and even brighter and get out there so that you're really standing out like a big giant sign. That's what she's saying.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine her talking like that.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. Dag.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. I'm speechless. I got goosebumps.
Tell me about your lives. No, wait, you're the host. You asked the question.
Man, we need to get to know more about you.
Hey, Vincent, listen, I want to ask you a question. You began your career as an actor, singer, and dancer, and appeared in the movie Grease. He appeared in the movie Grease.
Man.
When and how did you discover that you had psychic abilities, and how did you transition from being an actor to a psychic medium?
Ooh. Well, you know what happened, Griff? It was, I was the tormented and bullied kid in school, all the way from elementary school through my entire high school education until I was 17 years old, and I was old enough to stop it. So every day kids would pick on me, chase me, beat me up when they caught me, shove me in lockers, flush my head in toilets, pee on me, spit on me, humiliate me. And so what happened was the kid who instigated most of it, who was my greatest enemy, he was the super jock and the class clown. Everybody just loved him. So anytime he said my name, that was a cue for everybody to abuse me. Well, I did the movie Grease. And that was it was released in 1977. No, I'm sorry, 78. I did it in 77. Shortly after that, in 1983, was my 10-year high school reunion. Well, by 1983, Grease was a super blockbuster movie. And so there were all of these little hometown articles about me. Now, I was no star in that movie, I promise you. I was a singer and dancer, and I was throughout. I wasn't even one of the major ones, but you saw me a lot, and the producer put me in for a very special reason. So I became this little star of my town back on Long Island in New York. And I decided, I'm sorry?
No, we're just listening.
Oh, okay. So I went to the reunion with my wife. We already had a child. I was feeling really successful and cocky with a chip on my shoulder because I was going to show them that the guy they picked on, turned into something. Well, it was absolutely amazing. It was like a Cinderella story, not Cinderella. I went to the ball, and the girls, every girl in the place, and mind you, we had 350 class members, and they were all in attendance at that first reunion, And the girls are surrounding me like I was John Travolta. They sat at my table all night long asking me Hollywood questions. I was making them laugh. The jocks were coming over, and then the kid, he actually in the very beginning shouted my name, came up, gave me a bear hug, and wouldn't let me go. It was as if he was just begging for forgiveness with the hug, and I felt it. So on a soulful level, I heard him go, "I am so sorry." Well, from that night on, he became my dearest friend. But I knew something was wrong with his life. It was going downhill really quickly. Nobody else knew about it. He was bragging so much about his sweet childhood sweetheart he had married, 3 kids, incredible job, expensive condo in Connecticut. We even went to visit him, but I knew something was wrong. And so because of him, I was begging God to give me the ability to be able to help this guy and people like him. We were driving home. We're in the car. I remember it. I am just crying like crazy. My wife thinks I'm nuts because we just came from a gorgeous condo. And she's like, "Why do you think his life is falling apart?" And I'm like, "I know it. I know it is. I can't tell you why I know this, but I don't know how to help him. God, you've got to help me help this guy."
Yeah.
I knew what it was like to have your self-esteem and self-belief torn away from you. And that's what I was feeling from him. But he was the type of guy, because he rented the Porsche for the 10-year reunion to impress everybody. So I knew image was really important to him. Well, it was within a week of that begging, that prayer, that everything started happening to me. I mean, Steven Spielberg couldn't have come up with a better movie. That's how much unbelievable stuff was going on. And thank God my wife knew me since I was 17 years old. She was my first girlfriend. And she knew I didn't know anything about the paranormal world, the metaphysical world, even spirituality. And I was coming out with all this information that was filling my head. I was even speaking in another voice, trancing. My higher guide. I was seeing spirits, ghosts, hearing people's thoughts in my head. I became so psychic so quickly. That's how it transitioned. And then that kid actually became my first spiritual student, because I knew what was going on in his life. His wife left him, took the children. He lost his job. He had no money. He was about ready to lose the condo, and he needed tremendous back surgery because his bones the discs were all herniated and severe, where he almost couldn't walk. But he wasn't letting anybody know that. I knew that. And I approached him with that information. He let me work with him. And that's how it all started for me. But it was just crazy, thrust upon me. I get overwhelmed. I share that story.
Unbelievable. Thank you for that, Vincent. We appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Let me ask you this.
Pretty crazy.
You mentioned a little bit. You said you mentioned the word paranormal, and it was funny that all my life one of the things I always wanted to do was be a parapsychologist, and like always intrigued with that world. In fact, there's a friend of mine, and I was telling Wendy this. There's a friend of mine that's writing a book about me right now, and I think it was called The House of Griff or something like that. And And it's all about these paranormal investigators. This was crazy is that I haven't spoken to him in almost like 3 years. And I called him out of the blue. This is about a month ago I told you about this?
Yeah.
About a month ago. And he was like, man, it's funny you called me. I'm writing a book about you right now. You're the main subject of the book. It's a paranormal investigator. Because he and I go way, way back. And he knows I was always into paranormal investigating. And just never really panned out for me. However, I have built a ton of haunted attractions. That's one thing that I love to do. I've been building haunted attractions, professionally for almost 15 years. Absolutely love them. I've done them all around the Midwest. So my question for you is, what are, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was going to ask you where around the Midwest.
I've done Columbus, Dayton, Cleveland, and Cincinnati.
All right. I've been in Chicago. Most of my videos you saw was from Chicago.
I haven't had anybody call me and say they wanted anything in Chicago, but believe me, if they did, I'd be there. One of my favorite pastimes is designing and building haunted attractions. Absolutely love them. In fact, we are developing one now for the VR space, virtual reality space. Going to be a really, really...
Oh, that's so dope.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. So super excited about that. But that leads into the next question. What were some of your earliest paranormal experiences?
Oh, it actually started really early because I would see, when I was working with clients and I was doing some readings, and I actually started off as a psychic doing readings first before I even added the mediumship. All of a sudden, while I'm doing a reading, just like I was talking with Wendy just now, there would be a spirit coming in, and I am capable of seeing, hearing, knowing, feeling, smelling, all about them. I can bring them almost alive because of that. And so I would be right in the middle, and I didn't, in the beginning, I wasn't going to say anything to these people, but I was like, in my head, hello, who are you? It's just like, okay, Dad, why are you here? Yes, I'm working on your daughter right now. I'm like, and they would be communicating with me, and I felt freaky, I felt freaky being a psychic, too, quite honestly. I thought they were a whole bunch of kooks from California when I in a whole woo-woo land. What am I supposed to do now that I find out I'm psychic? Go put a palm outside, Brother Vinny next to Sister Sarah on the highway, So it started slowly, but then it became increasingly more prevalent in my life and in my work. And to such a point then that I was seeing deceased loved ones and spirits and even angels, but then I was seeing the ghosts, the spirits that didn't get a chance to completely cross over. So I've done tremendous amounts of research and study for the past 37 years in my work because I wanted to really know all about them. And so a guy like you would actually hate a guy like me, because one of the reasons why Chicago, there was a television network there, WCIU, and they had a morning show, You and Me This Morning, and one of the producers there loved the idea of bringing me in and bringing me to their famous haunted places. You want to see haunted places? You go to Chicago. It is filled, unbelievable, and there's a reason for that. That ground is filled with slaughtered Indians, American Indians, right? That's where Black Hawk came from. So they would bring me in, but I would heal the haunted place by moving the spirits on. The only place I didn't do that is in Joliet, Chicago, Illinois, Joliet. There is a Rialto Theater there. And there's 3 spirits that haunt the theater. 2 that are patrons, and they died during the first opening party by falling off the balcony. And then 1 is a young girl dancer, ballet dancer, who died coming to the theater out on the street. And they don't want to cross over. And I had this whole conversation with them, and the 2 patrons said, where can you see a professional Broadway show for free? And so They love the theater so much, and they bring in Broadway tours there, so they get to watch the Broadway tours up in the balcony for free. And then the dancers I couldn't dance in a Broadway show, but every time they come here, I get to dance with them on stage. And that's what The Haunting was all about. The dancers, cast members, would be like this spooky thing is coming near us and past us, and they would see them. So I didn't cross them over, but usually I try to cross everybody else over. But I do talk to them. I can communicate with all of them. So and then most important, and this is on my YouTube channel, I just made some videos on it. I get validation because they give me all this information, and then when you go to research them, there they are. Happened to me when my wife and I were touring in Italy. We were at the Colosseum, right? And we're visiting at night. And everybody went back to the van, and I'm on a little hill by myself overlooking the Colosseum lit up. It was spectacular, about a football field away. And I'm standing there, and my arms crossed. I'm like, wow, just taking in the beauty of it. And all of a sudden, there's a guy standing next to me. But when I look, it's a Roman soldier.
Wow.
It's a friggin' Roman soldier. Now, I thought at first it was one of the actors earlier dressed in costume. They were adding an ambiance to the tourism. But I was seeing through him. And there he is. He's standing there. And eventually, I'm having a conversation with him. I'm saying, hello, are you a spirit, like a guide? Or are you stuck here and lost? And he tells me he's stuck here. And I'm like, wow, this is the oldest ghost I've ever seen, since before Christ. He gave me his name, why he died. And if you Google him, which I did, I get into the van after I left, and I go right away to Google him. He tells me his name is Marius Marcus. And I'm like, geez, that's stereotypic of a Roman name. Good Lord. Couldn't you come up with anything original? So I hear Marius Marcus. I go and Google him. There he is. He died as a traitor for Julius Caesar in 82 BC. And I was out. He absolutely looked like a commercial for Trojan condoms, actually. They had the perfect uniform on. Those are the different types of experiences that I had. They're crazy.
Yeah.
Control.
Yeah. That's nuts.
That was the only time I tried to help him right away. But I usually do not see spirits unless I'm controlling it, or I can help in some way. That's the arrangement I have with the universe. There's no reason for me. I'm not like the Long Island medium who admits she's completely out of control. I am not in Trader Joe's squeezing melons and seeing the stock boy's grandfather, who's dead. No, that is not happening. It can only happen if I'm able to help in some way. And people come to me, but otherwise, nothing like that really interferes in my life, other than when it's fun, and I can help them.
That's a pretty good agreement.
Yeah, very cool, man. It seems like you had a face-to-face encounter with the Trojan man. I think that's super sweet.
But then again, I tried to do the best I can to cross him over, and I kind of feel, you see, spirits also know, even the ghosts, some of them will come to purposely try to spook you because misery enjoys company. They're angry, and they love to scare people. They live and thrive off of fear, purposely.
Yeah.
Others get an understanding and a feeling that you're a different energy and that you might be able to help in some way. I even helped Confederate lost soldiers, ghosts, from the Civil War, and I'm a Yankee, and they knew that. But because I was coming to them with compassion, they allowed and they trusted me, which is different, which is why all humans, when you approach them, living or dead, with the right love and the right attitude and understanding, they change. They let go of all of the nonsense garbage, and now you're just as two souls together. That was really beautiful, that work I did.
Yeah.
That is.
Dude, I know
Yeah,
Wendy. I know
incredible.
Wendy's got a question for you. But I wanted to ask you because you talked about Confederate soldiers. Have you had a chance to make it to Gettysburg?
Yes, I have been to Gettysburg. It's pretty amazing there. There are a bunch of, I've not had a chance to go there to kind of heal the place, and it would take some time because the place is filled, unfortunately, with a lot of those soldiers and those battles back then, especially the Civil War battle, is still considered the worst in history because it was literally brother against brother fighting.
Absolutely.
Right? So that type of trauma is what causes a spirit to not cross over and go through the light. So there is a lot. And what I feel when I'm there, because it's really funny, but everybody thinks, and they show all of the stories and the movies, that so many of the lost spirits hang around the grave sites. Well, they don't like the graveyards any more than we do, quite honestly.
Right.
Because they're lonely, or there's some other dead people there, who, not even living or dead, they don't even want to be amongst each other. Yeah. So, but what's different about Gettysburg is that there is a reverence there. And so it's as if the spirits want to move on, but they're just so sad. That's what I feel there, that heaviness and that heartache, the sadness of it all, rather than the anger. And I'm sure you've experienced this in your paranormal work. You will experience the difference between sad spirits and ones that are angry and want to get you going,
Yeah, yeah.
And torment, right? Well,
yeah, definitely.
It's a different energy.
Definitely. Go ahead, Wendy.
So a quick question for you. You say we don't believe what we think we believe. Why is that?
Oh, my goodness. I can't believe you got that and came up with that. Yes, because people don't understand where body, mind, and spirit. Yes, even if you've taken psychology courses, let's just move the body out of the way, move the spirit out of the way, and just think about the mind. Well, one of the things that people don't understand about the human mind, because they haven't been taught this, the two highest functions of the brain, human brain, one, to keep us alive, two, to protect us. That's how it keeps us alive. Now, we know how it protects us physically. We see it with the coronavirus thing, right? What's one of the major symptoms is your fever spikes. Well, it's not the coronavirus that's creating the fever. The brain is creating the fever to put your body in an unliving environment for the virus. So you can't live in heat. So it raises the temperature of your body. That's a protection mechanism. It's not paying attention to the fact that the raising of the temperature makes you feel uncomfortable in other ways. Its priority is to protect you from the intruder, and that's the virus.
Right.
Okay. What does it do with your emotions? We can have painful emotions for a very long time. When we grow up, we're receiving constant negative messages from the environment. We developed our first set of maladaptive beliefs, which are things like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not deserving, I'm not worthy, all of those things. And as we keep getting older, our mind develops, and so it starts to kick in to create a protective shield from those beliefs.
Yeah.
It creates your first set of defense mechanisms. All those defense mechanisms Freud talked about are purposely created to shield and protect us from the first set of beliefs. So now, instead of believing I'm not good enough, instead I believe, what a stupid boss I work for. I mean, that's the reason why I'm not getting a promotion. Or my partner, you know what? All I keep finding are these idiot partners out there, and I got to move so that I can find better quality partners. You know what I mean? Instead of, I'm not lovable, nobody's going to love me. So those new set of beliefs, they're what we think we really believe. But now we got to pull the spirit back into the equation. Why we have to pull that back into the equation is because we are not just bodies with minds. We're bodies with minds and a soul. And that soul connects us to the energy. And the energy works whether we see it or not, just like gravity. The energy and the law of attraction is out there just like the law of gravity and the law of aerodynamics. It's going to work. And the way it works is from your deep down inner core beliefs. So when your relationships are not working, it's truly because, not because you think you're a great catch, not because you think that you deserve something better. It's because you truly believe you're unlovable. And putting that energy out, and you're attracting a relationship that's going to fail, fall apart, because that's what your expectation is. So you think you're believing in this set of beliefs, but you're really not. Here's the other proof of that, Wendy. The people, the way they're acting out there today that you and I know, it's pretty rough with some, and they're really upset and they're lashing out. Well, here is why I and we can have compassion even for them, because that's not what they're believing. They're not lashing out at you because they're angry with you. They're projecting onto you their anger with themselves.
I tell people that all the time.
Right. Exactly. They are been so hurt. Maybe they were abused by their parents. The people who had to go out and buy hundreds of rolls of toilet paper and take it away from everybody else. How do we know that when this kid was growing up, that he or she didn't have anything and that nobody gave to them? They had to constantly fight for something. And so now that they're adults, they don't really believe anybody is going to protect them, take care of them, and think about them. So they have to think about themselves only. So that's what I mean by people do not believe what they think they believe. There's an inner set of beliefs that's completely guiding them.
Wow. That's one to think about right there.
It is a lot to think about. It's very heavy duty. That's the reason.
It is.
Drugs
but I think it's a lot of truth in it, for sure.
I kind of feel like we should be sitting there and doing a joint or something. I don't know. It just is.
Hey, roll it up. Hold up. She gonna ask your next question. I fire this one up. Go ahead.
So you say our past stories.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, hon.
I'm sorry. You say our past stories, no matter how intense or ordinary, need to be worn like tattoos. What do you mean by that?
What I was just saying, the only way to heal now those inner set of beliefs is by bringing them to the surface. All right? So you have to know, what is your major hurt? What is your major problem? Let's say it's I'm not good enough. Well, why do we tattoo ourselves? We tattoo ourselves because sometimes it's for honoring, right? Sometimes it's to make us feel like men or make us feel dainty women, whatever. Other times it's to remember. It's to remember something, somebody special, a special event, whatever. So you visually and figuratively tattoo I'm not good enough on your arm here. Why? Because every time you feel bad, every time you have a doubt, every time you have a fear, you want to connect that feeling to that tattoo. I'm not good enough, because that's what truly guiding you. So when you're at work and your boss is giving you a review, and maybe it's not 100% great, and all of a sudden there's a sinking feeling inside of you, and you go home and maybe you even get into a fight with your partner, or you're upset and you're a little depressed. Oh, my boss doesn't appreciate my work. No, you got to stop and go, wait a minute. All right, he said, and now that really isn't, if you really think about it, the review is okay, but the feeling that I had was like, when was the first time I felt that way? Oh, when I was younger, I was constantly being criticized. My parents told me, oh, a B is good, but you could do better. Why didn't you get an A? And so you wound up feeling, I'm not good enough. And when you remember that and link it directly to the current event, you can eliminate it and talk yourself out of it, because that's the next part, is affirm for yourself the truth. I am good enough. And the only reason why I'm feeling this way is because of the past, not because of the present.
It seems like it's always a connection there.
Everything. Here's what I'm going to say, which is going to sound weird. Every adult on the planet today, other than anybody who's mentally ill, we're just going to put them out of the way. Every adult is rational, reasonable, reliable, and stable. Rational, reasonable, reliable, and stable. Every adult is. However,
Are they now? No.
Hold on. Every child is not. So therefore, when you see an adult acting irrational, unreliable, unstable, that's not the adult in him acting up or her. That's the child within him. And the proof of that is, just look at the world today. Just look at America. You can see those who are literally having a temper tantrum. And
you definitely can't.
Constantly saying, wow, oh my God, you're acting like a brat. Even when two guys get into a fist fight because one bumped the other, those aren't adults fighting. Those are what kids do. He hit me. I got to hit you back. You know, siblings do that with each other, right? They walk into each other purposely. So everybody is acting like a kid, but the adult in them wants to be mature. But that's how much control that inner child has over us, Wendy and Griff. It really is unbelievable. That's the crux of my work.
And you know what? Cool. So I don't even think I need to ask you this next question, because I feel like you already answered it. The question says, how can we recognize the blockages and destructive patterns we have established for ourselves? And I would say that you just outlined that. I would dare to say that,
I would add a little bit more.
That inner child is still there.
Yes, I would add a little bit more. First of all, to know you have a block is by looking at the outcome of your life. We're unlimited beings, truly, especially because of that power we're connected to. We can manifest anything we want. If we're not, something's getting in the way. There's a block. Now, what the block is, and it would be so cool, I got to get my book published. I'm trying to get it published right now. It's called God, It's Not Working, What One Man Found That Makes Everything Work. And that, along with my work, Stop Stopping Yourself and Become Unstoppable, it shows in there, the layers of the mind, what gets in the way, but it's not our bad feelings of self that's the actual block. It's the adult, what I call the adult-made mind, where the defense mechanisms are created, which is now above the environmental-made mind, which formed when we were children, and that's where all our maladaptive beliefs are. And those two minds are over the superconscious or unconscious mind, where your soul resides and all the truth. Well, those two minds, working together, they're blocking what you're really feeling. We have to disempower the defense mechanism. We have to stop the denial. We have to stop the repression and the suppression. We've got to allow those maladaptive feelings to surface in order to see them, feel them, taste them, to get rid of them. It is shown in psychology and in the medical field that in order to get rid of a physical pain, you take an analgesic to deaden the sensors, and now you don't feel the pain anymore. Well, to get rid of emotional pain, you need to feel it. You need to feel it. We are so afraid of feeling our feelings. We're closing ourselves off, not to the outer world. You cannot disconnect yourself from the outer world. You're connected to everybody. That's how we were created. You are actually closing yourself off from yourself, your left brain from your right brain. The left brain is the thinking brain, the logical brain. The right brain is the intuitive, creative, emotional side and nurturing side. So that proverbial wall you hear of, that we've been hearing a lot of all over the place, is coming between your left brain and your right brain, not between you and anybody else. So you're stopping yourself from knowing what's down deep and feeling what's down deep, and there's your block. And that'll stop from achieving everything you want and everything.
Yeah. That's so funny that you say that. I just was listening to a guy on YouTube that basically said the same thing. He said that he said people ask him, how do I live my truth? And he said that to live your truth, you have to feel every emotion, feel everything that you feel in the moment. He said a lot of people, like you said, suppress how they feel. Like if you're mad, just be mad for a minute, then you get over it. But I mean, he put in a nutshell, that's how you live your truth. And that's just so powerful that, you know, you guys really had the same thought on that. Cause I thought that was real. So.
Oh, well, if he said the same thing I did, he must have been a genius.
I mean, we hold back a lot, you know. We suppress how we feel to make other people feel comfortable and all that type of thing. That's miserable.
Yes, it's to protect us because of our insecure feelings. Remember, our true first set of beliefs are all about ourselves. And I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy enough. So no matter what happens as an adult, you are still being influenced by that first set of beliefs. You may think, because here, let's say, okay, Griff, let's say I'm a stranger and I come up to you one day and I say, Griff, you are the dumbest 7-foot-tall Japanese girl I have ever met. All right. What would your response to that guy be? You'd laugh in his face, right?
Yeah.
What?
That 100%.
Because none of it is true, right?
Right.
All right. So if somebody comes up and says something that then does bother you, why do you think it bothers you? Because you believe it's true.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there's the difference. So we know in psychology that another person's words and behaviors cannot create your feelings. You must have your own thoughts. Thoughts create feelings. You must have your own thought between the time a person says or does something and the time you feel something. And it usually is, yeah, I am a piece of crap. That's why you said that to me just now. But you don't hear that. All you hear is, well, that was really selfish, you know, and now you respond back in a defense mood. But in between the person's words and your response was a whole bunch of things that you did not realize took place.
Right.
95 to 98% of the entire mind is in unconscious awareness. Only 2 to 5% is conscious. So that means the major portion of our minds, we have no idea what's going on in there. That's why we have such a hard time controlling it.
Right.
Griff, you have no idea what's going on in that mind of yours, and either does the rest of the world. Oh, my gosh.
I'll tell you what, I totally agree. It's so much going on, man. I'm like, dude, I haven't slept in years, you know? Not a real sleep, but I mean, Jesus Christ, I have no freaking idea what's going on in my mind. All I know is that whatever it is, I need to get it out to the world. So, so that's why this platform, building this platform is so important to me, because I felt like there's so much that I feel like I need to say, and so much that needs to be heard. And, we have a good time doing it. And, but there's definitely an overall mission. There's a method to my madness. Let's put it like that.
There's no madness. And here's the funny thing. You just said, and I was joking by, you have no idea what's going on in there. You do. You have been in touch with it. Your biggest conflict in your life right now, this is a part of the psychic reading, just so that you know. So I'm back on the clock. Your biggest issue is how you get done everything you want to do, considering that time is involved, considering that we're right now in frozen time and moments, right? And when you think about what you want to do versus the time you have, it seems like more than one lifetime worth of stuff. What's happening, the reason why you're feeling that way is because you feel, and this is the part that you've got to acknowledge and admit to yourself, and it's okay you admit to the world. You have to admit you feel special. You have to admit you feel different than anybody else, and you're grateful for feeling that difference. And you feel very old, and you feel very worldly, and you feel very wise. And the conflict is not, how do I get that out there? Your conflict is, how do I accept that? And I'm going to compare you to somebody. Oh, boy, Wendy, I'm sorry. I'm about ready to tell him something that you are not going to be able to work with him from this day on. That's not wide enough for his head to get.
I'm going to have to dump him.
Okay.
I'm going to dump this dude.
I know, really. When Jesus came down to do his mission, and by the way, Jesus came down here to remind us who we were, not who he was. And he was told, he started to wake up to his mission at around 33 years old, right? We know the story. And he started walking in the desert. Well, there was a reason for that. He was getting away from everybody because he was scared out of his mind, because he was feeling all this stuff he was supposed to do, that he was meant to do. And those temptations from the devil, they weren't an outside devil. He was dealing with his own inner demons and fears. The power, I'm going to become powerful. What am I going to do with it? Am I going to misuse it? Are people still going to like me? Am I really going to know how to even use it? And so those were his temptations before he started his mission. So it's okay that you feel all discombobulated inside of you. Here's what you need to feel. Most importantly, he said, okay, this is my mission, and I'm here to change the world. So be it. I've got the greatest sources on my side to do that work. People are going to revere me. They're going to love me. They're going to honor me. They're going to worship me. They're going to dislike me. They're going to hate me. They're going to despise me. They're going to want to kill me. He had to accept all of that. And that was his greatest fear. But once he did acknowledge his specialness, he went out into the world. And there were other people who had to do the same. People like Gandhi, people like Martin Luther King Jr., they had to come to say to themselves, I have something special to say, and not be afraid to be the one to do that. I even feel that way. I'm great at what I do. I'm great when I'm out there giving out the words. I want to be the one that does it because of the love I have for people. So why not me? It's okay. Anybody else can do it. You can share it with me too, Griff, no matter what. But you've got to come to the place of acceptance, and all those things will naturally fall into place. So your confusion has nothing to do with what to do and when to do it. It's more of why me?
Right. Right.
Why not you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good stuff, man. I appreciate that. I really, really do. I really do. You got anything? Or, listen, see, this is why I wanted you, man. I'm like, oh, we got to get him on the show.
So glad we did.
Dude, like, are you kidding me? Like, this is like,
this
is major, man. We're like totally, like, just totally in tune with this. It was just having you here, man. I'm super excited. And we definitely got to have you back at some point. I don't know when, but we definitely have to do it. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, I'll be back anytime. And Wendy is for us, by the way.
Beautiful. Yeah. What happens is a lot of times it's weird with Skype. I think like when we talk, like if you're talking and we talk, it kind of cuts out. So we try not to say much while you are saying what you're saying. We try to just lay back. But dude, if we could just like comment throughout the entire time you're talking, we're like, oh yeah, right on point.
I want to so bad.
One more question.
I'm sorry. I do it again. I'm doing it again. And then I interrupt a lot only because I don't hear. I'm too friggin' old.
No problem.
Yeah.
Are you singing? Are you supposed to be singing? Your grandmother just interrupted everything. And she said, yes, to you, to Wendy.
Yes, I actually do sing. Yep.
So you do?
Yeah.
Okay, and more than just in a choir, you're singing on your own or in a group, but you're singing. And are you planning on making a recording?
I actually am. Yeah, Griff and I were that's kind of in the making, so.
Well, your grandmother is saying thumbs up to you. Keep it going. You guys are great. So you see, you've got so many ways of getting out there. It's fabulous. You're very talented and wonderful people with incredible energy. And I'm not just saying this because you guys aren't paying me to be on your show anyway. So,
no, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Vincent. Listen, let me ask you this. What is the most important message you want our listeners to hear?
That before you can believe in anything, before you can love anyone, you must believe in and love yourself first. You need to do whatever work that you need to have your greatest existence here because that's the way you show love to yourself. You are so worth being able to heal the stories from the past, and we each have one. It doesn't make a difference to what extent that story is. That story has kept us and made us forget who we really are as magnificent divine beings. So start this work, commit to it, find classes, books, lectures. I don't care what it is. There's plenty of information out there. Work on healing your dark shadows, your dark place, because when you do that, you'll be open up to all the abundance in this world that you deserve. Your life is about you, and you will extend that out onto everybody else when you start loving and believing in yourself first and foremost. Thank you.
Man,
thank you, Vincent. Listen,
I totally agree. Thank you for that.
100%. Listen, this is why we wanted Vincent here with us tonight, and we want him back for sure. And you heard it here first. You heard him say he would come back. So we're gonna hold him. We're gonna hold him to that.
We're holding you to it.
You know what I'm saying? Vincent, once again, man, God bless you for coming out here and hanging out with us on this special interview segment
of the weekly call.
Of the weekly Kizali. We're having Vincent back. I'm going to say that like 15 more times. We're having Vincent back. Say it again, Win.
We're going to have Vincent back.
We're having Vincent back. One more time.
Get back here, Vincent.
You got something to say, Vincent? Something you want to say there?
Yeah, am I coming back?
You definitely are. Dude, my hat has like come off like, this is like the weirdest thing. Look at this. Boom. It's just popped. Like crazy as heck. Look, we're just gonna rock it like this. So listen, y'all, here's the deal. We appreciate you all hanging out with us tonight for another special edition. Look at that right there. Oh, the homeboy feel. Another special interview segment. Oh, I see you hitting your pose, man. Come on, hit that pose with it. Hit that pose with it. What? of the weekly call, y'all. You're hanging out with your boy Griff. Wait a minute. Before we stop this thing, is there anywhere, Vincent, that they can go to your social media, anything that you want us to, because I believe people should definitely reach out to you through social media. Are there any books? Are there anything that you want to plug right now?
They can go to my website to get everything that they need at vincentgenna.com with a Genna. And also, I just started my YouTube channel, The Adventures of a Psychic Therapist. I've got stories on there. I've got all my videos on there. Go subscribe. That's going to be great. And watch my Facebook Live events.
Super excited about that. And listen, guys, down in the descriptions of this particular video, this particular night, there will be a link to Vincent's website. Once again, Vincent Genna, God bless you for being here. God bless you all for hanging out with us. It's your boy, Griffy Griff, the beautiful Miss Wendy Wynn, the genius himself, Vincent Genna, on tonight's edition of what?
The interview segment of the Weekly Call.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace out.